Shot one Mikey. Tell them Black nation rise. Wouldn't think of full time. Do we stop being victimized? Organize and centralize. Take the shackles off your mind. Black nation rise. Hold your head up with pride. Them no care about black lives. Now the ship up capsize. Open up your mind. Firstly, every African a queen and king. Know your past and you will know yourself. That man not got our color and no sin. Never trade my roots, me proud of my skin. Sing I forget the old slave master Jim. Pan back with fasting. And you know them now bring them from the plantation. Nowadays a prison. Hear the ancestors them singing African hymns. But we have to rise up in order to win. We have to see a floating sinkings and we can't sink. Call out the black leaders in our communities. We stand against injustice and stand for unity. And in a rise. Wouldn't think of full time. Do we stop being victimized? Organize and centralize. Take the shackles off your mind. Black nation rise. Hold your head up with pride. Them no care about black lives. Now the ship a capsize. Open up your mind. Freedom must come with a cost. You can't know the future if you don't know the past. If you sight the fullness, if you don't know the half. Them milk the mother cow and them want kill the calf. Check the status, it's off. The grid off the graph. Look how much blocky youths them kill off the Ross. Classism, racism, black brother them a ball. We have to fight all if we back against the wall. Like a Bengi roll. Bengi roll. Go back to your roots and your window on yourselves. We did that with our friends. No one time to rebel by the KKK. No black brothers, them hang them in the suburbs. We in a projects, yo, you know see the trend. In a 2020, yo, we still a go pretend. Like slave master and slave bikini. They my friend, like Black Panther. Take a stance, yeah, my friend. Can't play cover, rise up from lions den. Reaching out to the rude boys and all the ragamuffins. You will fall for anything if you stand for something. Black nation rise. Couldn't think of full time. Do we stop being victimized? Organize and centralize. Take the shackles off your mind. Black nation rise. Hold your head up with pride. Them no care about black lives. Now the ship up capsize. Open up your mind.
Good afternoon, Jamaica. Good afternoon to my listeners on YouTube. Today is Teachers' Day. I appreciate about 5 persons who sent me a Teachers' Day message. I appreciate those 5 students who sent me a Teacher's Day message. Miss Millie, Miss Annie, Miss Sophie. I'm going through them. Thanks to those who have sent me a Teacher's Day. It's a moment, Jamaica. It's a pleasure to be back here midday. I have some nice gungo beef soup. I'm having some nice gungo beef soup. Them say tiger loose in Jamaica. I tell you, Jamaica is one careless country, you know. So can you imagine what else is being smuggled with that tiger into the country? Them say the tiger. I'll get into that story tonight in Black River. So can you imagine what else is being smuggled in the country? Can you imagine, Jamaica, what else is being smuggled? A baby tiger, them say a cub. a cub is being smuggled into the country, has been smuggled. So can you imagine what else is being smuggled in the country? Just a moment. Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now, Jamaica? So tigers being smuggled in the country. I sure monkey and all of them something there. In night and snake and all of them something there. Hmm? Can you imagine what else is being smuggled? Can you imagine, Jamaica? What else is being smuggled in the country? But today, whilst I talk about that, I have Miss Andrea Purkiss, who is the candidate for the People's National Party in Eastern Hanover. And Miss Purkiss is joining us today on Midday Connection. So let us welcome Miss Purkiss, now Jamaica, to PDTV Midday Connections. Good afternoon, Miss Purkiss. You're muted.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stevens.
Yes, Miss Perkins, good afternoon, my dear. Welcome to PDTV Midday Connection.
Thank you.
So, can you tell Jamaica today who Andrea Perkins is, please?
Andrea Purkiss is the Member of Parliament candidate for Eastern Hanover, a country girl, who is passionate about where she's from. I am from a small village in Cascade within Eastern Hanover. I went back home 6 years ago, moved back home. The main reason I moved home was to take care of my parents. And I am now in a position to take care of Eastern Hanover, and I could not be more thrilled.
Mm. Hold on a minute. Wow. So you went back home 6 years ago,
Yes.
take care of your parents. Just a moment. Just one moment, Miss Perkins.
Sure.
So you went home 6 years ago, and you went to look to sort out your parents. But what happened after that? How
What
did you?
happened after that is what was happening before that I continued to support my community. I continue to be with the passion that I have for my village first and then my parish, and of course the constituency of Eastern Hanover. But I want to take the time to thank you for the opportunity to be on your program and to shout out the special viewers that you have from home and abroad. Home and abroad. And I want to also thank you for bringing the news to the regular man.
Bringing the news to the regular man.
Yes.
Interesting. Bringing the news to the regular man.
Very important.
So tell us, how did you get involved in politics?
I was always involved from home. My mom has worked for the People's National Party for over 50 years. And so the love for the party developed many years ago, many years ago. So it was natural for me to, become interested in representing the People's National Party. It happened pretty much because I support all, well, when it comes down to the People's National Party, I am about that first. And
Yeah.
so I am here for that main reason, that I am about party before anything else, right? How I got here is working together with our comrades, working in a respectful fashion, listening to all of the comrades and just try to maintain the standard that the People's National Party would want to upkeep within Eastern Hannibal.
But how did you end up becoming the candidate? What really led you to becoming the candidate?
What led me to this was working for my division first. I live in the Sandy Bay division. I was a part of the Sandy Bay division executive.
Mm-hmm.
So I did some work for my division. And of course, that's where it started. Right? That's where it started. And of course, as the years went on, I got more seasoned. I learned more about the party. And I believe I am where I am today in terms of being the representative because of who I am. I am about togetherness. I am about respect. I have the passion that is required to represent the people of Eastern Hanover. And so, with that said, the party, of course, selected me as the candidate after doing, all the necessary background checks. And of course, I am fit enough to represent Eastern Hanover. So I did some work for the party within
Mm-hmm.
my division for a number of years. I also assisted Comrade Hines while he
Yes.
was candidate. So I was out on the road with him. I developed a relationship amongst the comrades within the Eastern Hanover space. So that's really how it started in a very simple fashion.
But that seat is that the seat that DK Duncan had?
Yes, it is.
So it is really a PNP seat.
It is a PNP seat. Well, it's one of those seats that either can go to either party. Of course, it depends on the work that we put in as a party. But it is one of those constituency. It's a battle, always a battle of who will win Eastern Hanover. And what I can tell you is that it's a very important seat to both parties.
Very important seat. So that is a seat that you're going to kick away, or not kick away. You're going to put aside Dave Brown.
I didn't get that. I'm
That,
sorry.
that you're going to put aside Dave Brown.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How did you do in the local government election?
We, as I predicted in an interview with TVJ, it was a clean sweep. We won all three divisional seats in Eastern.
So what was the difference in terms of voting in the
I, I
local?
didn't get I didn't get that.
What was the difference in terms of the local government election turnout? How many across what was the difference of vote between PNP and Labour?
Oh, it was over 1,000. Over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Yes, yes.
So
That's the
what happened?
margin.
What are the situation or what is happening really now in Eastern Hanover in terms of
Well, what is happening in Eastern Hanover? I can tell you that Eastern Hanoverians are frustrated. They're frustrated for many reasons. The state of our roads, potholes, the cracks, the uneven surfaces have become a common sight. And so daily commute is affected. Aging infrastructure, insufficient maintenance of our roads are really affecting us down here. And I recognize that it is across the country. However, Eastern Hanover is in a deplorable state as it relates to our roads. So that is usually the first piece of conversation.
what happened to her? So she talking about the roads, Jamaica. Let us see if she'll come back.
But where they come from, send it back, send it back. Every evil arrow, anywhere he come from, send it back. If a China, if a Jamaica, if a Haiti, where he come from, we send it back. Third, reverse the curse, reverse the curse, reverse the order, reverse the curse, reverse the order. Somebody say, reverse the curse, yeah. Reverse the order. Somebody reverse the curse. Aye. Reverse the order over Jamaica. Reverse the curse, mighty God. Reverse the order. If a king's house, if a garden house, if a the prime minister, if a the opposition, if a politician, if a the liar, come from the doctor, come from Simon, anywhere he come from, reverse the order, reverse the order, break sure, we're coming through, we're coming through, reverse the curse, send back the order, reverse the curse, send back the order, where he come from, anywhere he come from, if a Jamaica, if a Clarendon, if a St. Thomas he come from, St. Mary, send it back, send it back, we don't want to hear ya, come out of Jamaica, leave we Highland.
Yes, Jamaica. Miss Purkiss is reversing the curse on Eastern Hanover. Reverse the curse, Miss Purkiss. So tell us now, you said the road condition.
Mhm.
What happened with the road condition down there, my love?
But it's deplorable. It's a sore eye. Our vehicles are damaged. There's no maintenance, right? Because whatever it is that you're doing, maintaining that thing is always important. And
Yes.
so the road, there is no maintenance at all. And I believe because of that, if we're not checking to see how the roads are deteriorating over a 2 years period, a 3 years period, so we fix the road uh, this year, you want to check on it. And so maintaining our roads, that's just not
Remember
happening.
that there can be no maintenance of our roads because the Prime Minister demolished and abolished the road maintenance fund. So
Yes,
there is no road maintenance fund to maintain the roads across the length and breadth of Jamaica.
and
So
that
you're
is why.
talking about roads.
Go
I
ahead.
saw a video recently where when even the rain comes, there is major flooding in the constituency. Tell me about that.
Yes, we do have major floodings, and that is because our drains are blocked. To give you an example, I get off the main in the Q area. I drive 9 miles inland, and there's
Mm,
a community called Jericho, from Jericho up to Cascade. And I can tell you, you can no longer identify where the drains are
Mm.
because they're covered. They're covered with rubble from heavy rainfalls. So you
Yes.
don't even know that drains are there. But that same stretch of road on the Georgia Hill,
Mm-hmm.
that stretch of road is fully damaged. So we basically drive through potholes
My
to
God.
get home. So that is my daily commute.
So pothole plus poor drainage.
Yes.
And then we're going into that hurricane season in a few more weeks. So
Yes. And I must, since we're on the roads, I must speak on the patching that is being done as well. That if
yes.
we're patching the roads, we must direct the water somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So Eastern Hanoverians right now, we're almost at panic mode because we are fully aware that it is the hurricane season, indeed, that it is going to approach, it is approaching soon. And we just don't have the confidence that the patches are going to stay. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have the confidence that the the little patching that
So you
was
don't
done.
get any of this sparky. None of this sparky not come down to you.
Well, it's not sparking so much in Eastern Hanover. And why I say that is because I am yet to see a mile of road fixed anywhere. And we
Really?
have miles and miles, miles and miles of roads that are damaged within the Eastern Hanover space. And I don't believe that we
Yes.
should speak about Spark and highlight the road up in Chester Castle, that's the Shuttlewood area, because the money was dispersed a long time, from maybe 2 years ago, to fix that road. So I
So
really, I
and
really don't see where the Spark is parking within the Eastern Hanover
wait,
space.
wait. So you're saying the money dispersed up for Chester up there so 2 years ago?
Yes, money
Yes.
was granted. It's over a year, I'm certain, right? I believe it was about $37 million. However, that is the only piece of road that I really can speak on. And I don't believe we should, I I believe if you're fixing the road and if you get some monies to fix the road, whatever time you get that money, the road should be fixed at that time. So the Spark program is really not sparking here yet because again, we're seeing patching. We're seeing patching. A lot of our roads need to be resurfaced. The uneven, I can give you examples though, between the Sandy Bay to Q within
Mm.
that space. It's the unevenness there. It's uncomfortable. And I spoke on it before that our daily commute is miserable within the Eastern Hanover space.
Miserable.
Yes.
So you said the spark really not sparking.
No, I can't speak on it. I don't see where it is parking so far.
Can't see where it is say what a bangarang. So what is your vision for Eastern Hanover?
Well, my my vision for Eastern Hanover is to first represent Eastern Hanover. That is the first vision I have.
So what you
And
there's
that
no
is,
representation presently for the people
there
of it.
is absolutely no representation within Eastern Hanover. Right?
Mm,
Within the Eastern Hanover space, the citizens, they like to know their representatives first. They like to be close to them. They like to have dialogue with them. They like to sit with the representative. And at this moment, we don't have that. So that is my very first goal as the member of parliament, to
mhm.
represent Eastern Hanover, listen to their concerns. What is it that is affecting you the most? Pay attention to it and just kind of segment the issues because we have a lot. The issues are plenty. So I want to first represent them. And also, the second thing is to use government resources the right way.
So what
So
you're
that's
saying, the government resources presently are not being used effectively and efficiently?
Well, I am what I am saying is that I am not seeing where our roads are being fixed properly. The quality that I don't know about the procurement process that we use for the roads, but I can tell you that if we were using the resources the right way, whenever a pothole is patched, we would have more than 2, 3 weeks of comfortable drive, right? So the deterioration of our roads, I really would want to ask the question as to where is the government resources being spent? Because
All
I
right.
can tell you it's not on the roads. It's not on the
Where is
roads.
it being spent then, Miss Perkins?
I didn't hear that.
So if it not being spent on the roads, where is it being spent in Eastern Hanover?
That is the question of many Eastern Hanoverians and myself included. We don't know.
You must see it somewhere, man. You must see it somewhere. You're saying
We
there's no evidence of the fiscal prudence and the good expenditure, the good economic management what them say can yam.
No, I am not seeing that at all. There is no type of development happening within the Eastern Hanover space. And that is where, again, I speak on using government resources, whatever the resource is, to develop our community centers, right? All of our community centers are closed down. The early childhood education, we need that to be strengthened right away. We need to expand by adding schools. We have lost about 8 schools within the last 8 years within the Eastern Hanover space.
How you
Basic
lose
schools,
how you lose
basic
school?
schools. They're closed down. Some of them I know lack of resources, right? Lack of resources and support. So we have a real challenge in Eastern Hanover. And whenever I get the opportunity to speak, to represent Eastern Hanover, I also want to highlight it that we're more than roads. That seem to take center stage because the roads are so bad. But there is so much more to Eastern Hanover. We have a lot of struggles within the constituency that has nothing to do with our roads.
So what are really the struggles for the I hear that the Lucy town needs to be upgraded. You want to speak about your vision for Lucy?
Well, that Lucy is within the Western Hanover space. I won't speak on the town.
Oh,
My
Lucy.
towns are Sandy Bay, Hopewell, and up in Chester Castle. So
So
Lucy falls in the
tell us
Western Hanover.
tell us today what is your plan. Give me your vision for
All
the
right. Well,
constituency.
the vision we have. So let me tell you some more issues that we have. We have a water crisis happening right now within Eastern Hanover, and the
Mm-hmm.
plan for that. What I notice when I go through the communities, I noticed that we have booster systems, for water, and we only need to expand, you know, pipelines to cover those places, right? Example, in the old pen to rejoin area, we have lots of tanks, even tanks that were built by NWC that are just sitting there. So while we struggle, right, for the lack of running water within our homes, we do have these facilities that are just not maintained. So one of my goals is to upgrade the water system within the Eastern Hanover space and to engage NWC to see if some of these tanks we can, before we get to buying the necessary piping that is needed to get the
Yes.
water into people's homes, to get them some water, right? To get them some water. When it comes on to the road situation,
Mm-hmm.
the roads, it's the quality. I don't believe we're using the right quality materials right now. And again, I spoke on it before about the procurement process, but I do see where if a road is patched today, in a few weeks, it's damaged
So you
again.
said the roads are dry weather roads.
They are dry. You can say so.
Mm.
Yes.
So what is
And
your plan for the
across Eastern, we also have, sorry?
what is the plan for the for education in the constituency?
Well, the plan for education within Eastern Hanover is to first expand by adding additional schools. We need additional schools, and we need to have a fresh look also at early childhood education, to include, teacher trainings, right? Because right now within Eastern Hanover, a lot of us have to send our kids to a different parish, way
Oh,
out of parish, to attend prep schools, right? And so I believe that the entire education system within Eastern needs to be improved. Needs to be
so how do
improved.
you plan to improve the educational outcome?
I didn't get that.
How do you plan to improve the educational goals in Eastern Hanover?
Well, it starts by, adding schools, and we need to also focus on the STEM and vocational training. There's so many different aspects. I spoke on early childhood before. But we also need to lobby for teachers of our, constitutional rights, right? Our teachers right now, they're struggling. They're struggling. And so we're no different from any other constituency within Jamaica where our educators are struggling, for better wages. But I can speak on Eastern Hanover that whenever you're tackling something, it's best to go to the root. And the root of our education system starts with early childhood education. So we need to place a focus on that to develop our young minds. We have a lot of teachers, within Eastern Hanover. From the
Mm-hmm.
hills, from the main, we have a lot of teachers, a lot of educators within this space, but they need support from government. They need support from government. We need to start to incentivize teachers. We need to
Mm.
start to incentivize teachers so they can feel. And I also, since we're talking about teachers, I forgot at the beginning to just ask for a minute to thank the teachers. Teaching is sometimes a thankless job. It's sometimes a thankless job. And
Yeah.
so today I want to let you, all the teachers, know that we appreciate your service.
Mm. You appreciate the service.
Yes.
So you're
Yes.
telling all of the teachers Happy Teachers Day.
Yes.
Tell us about the economic situation in Eastern Hanover.
The economic situation in Eastern, I would say it is a struggle. We sit between two major tourist towns, that's Montego Bay and Negril, and we heavily depend on tourism.
Mm-hmm.
But what we the tourism dollar is not really trickling down to the average man. Right?
Oh,
It's not trickling down to the average man at all. I had a conversation yesterday about this very item where our visitors, once upon a time, would make a stop in Sandy Bay, a rest stop in Sandy Bay, and they would stop at, a prominent rest stop area.
yes.
And at that rest stop, you would have a direct benefit from a local, from that tourist dollar. What I notice happening now is that our visitors are picked up at the airport, they're whisked off to their destination
Mm-hmm.
without any stop. So everything is inclusive now, and it does not include the locals. When it
Yes.
comes on to attractions, it is so difficult for a local
Mm-hmm.
to start an attraction. The red tape, how do we get into the hotels?
The
Our Juta drivers, our Jekyll drivers, right? I remember Francis Tolo, and history will tell us that he ensured that Eastern Hanover or Eastern Hanoverians benefited from tourism dollar. So
Mm.
J. Cullen Jute actually started with his support. What we have now are tour operators
Mm-hmm.
from different countries even. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have tour operators from all over the place. We have taxi drivers that are not from Jamaica, while
Mm.
we have our own taxi drivers paying fees
Mm-hmm.
within the hotels
Mm-hmm.
to get a few couples to move, you
Yeah.
know? So the economy right now is not doing great
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of money is being pulled from beneath our feet because we depend so heavily on tourism. We
My.
also depend on agriculture. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we depend heavily on agriculture, but when you have a constituency that is plagued with bad roads, it
Mm.
will affect agriculture directly,
Yeah.
right? And I want to speak now on a bridge that collapsed 3 years ago, going into 3 years ago over in Woodsville.
Mm. So
That was
Francis,
not a part of the prime minister's plan. Sorry?
so Francis Toller was an MP in Eastern Hanover,
He was a member of parliament in Eastern Hanover,
and
yes.
then you had a DK Duncan.
We had, yes,
Oh, okay. So you had some
right?
powerhouses. So you're filling the gap for some powerhouse men in the PNP. Mm.
You can say that, but I was speaking on the
Tell us about
economy.
mm-hmm. You were talking
Yes. So
about the
we're speaking on the economy, and you know, I mentioned that the roads, where there's no roads, you know, there's no growth
mm-hmm.
for any economy at all within that space, and so the bridge in Woodsville, what it collapsed 3 years ago. That
Mm-hmm.
bridge is a main road that you take. It's the main passage to Mayfield Falls, which is one of our best attractions
Mm.
on the island. At Mayfield Falls, you have natural jacuzzis. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're not holding hands with strangers and walking up on stones. You have natural jacuzzis with just natural bubbles that heals the body. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a main attraction until the bridge collapsed. So
Mm-hmm.
all of those people who work within the Mayfield Falls area, some
Mm.
persons would have their craft selling, you know, the bus drivers who took persons to Mayfield Falls.
Yes.
All of those people are heavily affected. And it's not just the attraction, the farmers there. The
Mm-hmm.
farmers are stuck with their produce, right? Because it is hard enough to get transportation to just go into the town, the major town, much more to get transportation to carry your goods, you
So
know? So
question. Haven't the procurement done for the re-establishment of that bridge already?
there are many stories about that bridge. The procurement, it was done. I remember an article came out, I believe it's in the Gleaner, over a year ago, where the member of parliament mentioned that money was available. I am hearing different stories now, and it is now referred to as the parish council bridge. Now, even if it is the parish council that is responsible for the bridge, the parish council has to look to central government for help,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we cannot continue with the dopey stories, you know, to tell the citizens of Eastern Hanover. Eastern Hanover requires some action, right? It's just not acceptable that a bridge that connects communities that collapsed years ago, we still only have the residents coming together. And I've been there with them.
Mm.
I stood at that bridge and I watched them, you know, they get the wood and they work together as a community. The community of Woodsville is a strong community because I can tell you, if it wasn't for the resilience of those people, they
Yes.
would be stuck in their areas. But
Is
they have a makeshift bridge now that they drive. It's not safe. It's not safe. But what do you do when you're locked in? When you're locked in your area and you need to go to your major town, you know?
So how do the people in that area survive, particularly in a rainy season?
Well, in a rainy season, a panic is setting in right now, as I'm sure sets in before the hurricane season.
Yes.
Because these men that are fixing the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
they have their jobs. Some of
Yes.
them are farmers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so the maintenance that the bridge requires also takes a lot of time, from the citizens. You have to pull yourself from your job to assist in constructing a makeshift bridge,
Yes.
right? So it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge.
It's a serious, real challenge. So, what you plan to do in terms of social program?
Well, for social program, I spoke on that earlier. We need to reopen the community centers, right? In Hanover, there is a stigma that the young people are, not interested in community, but we can't always assume the worst about our youth,
True.
right? We
Uh-huh.
can't continue to assume the worst about them. And so we do nothing to attract them.
Mm.
The community centers, there is one in my village, and as I walk through the constituency of Eastern Hanover, there are a number of community centers where the structure is there, good structure. It just needs cleaning and people a group of persons who have the interests of the communities, the
Yeah.
divisions, and
Mm.
the constituency at heart. We need some heart in Hanover. In every aspect of our lives within Eastern Hanover, we need some heart. The
Mm.
people are feeling neglected, they're feeling let down, right?
Yeah.
Because there is absolutely nothing happening. And I believe the people are beyond election year running around and putting some things together and having a corner league here and a corner league there. As a community, it is the frequency with which we engage the
Mm.
younger ones that we will be able to affect a change. You can't
My God.
affect change if once in 9 years you sponsor a corner league, right? Or you sponsor a domino tournament, right?
Mm.
The citizens deserve more. The citizens deserve us as leaders and representatives to be there with them throughout the 4 years that you're serving. And then if
But
you get another 4 years, the citizens deserve our
but
presence and our help.
some would argue that the PNP has had control over that seat for years. It's just recently the JLP has had the seat. Isn't it for the past 4 or 5 years the JLP has had the seat?
No, they've served for 2 terms.
Oh, it's
And
terms.
2 terms. So what I can tell you also, and yes, people will say that, but I believe the PNP started to do some good work within Eastern Hanover. And again, when I speak of the community centers, when I speak of the basic schools that have shut down, it is within the last 9 years, right?
Oh,
I remember the water system. Let me tell you, I went, I won't say where, but I went to a community within Eastern Hanover.
mm-hmm,
And I had a conversation with a grandmother.
mm-hmm.
I walked that community with Julian Robinson.
Yes.
And the grandmother said to us that when she bathes her grandson,
Mm.
that's the same water that she uses to take a shower, right?
Repeat that.
When she bathes her grandson, she used that same water to take a shower.
Mighty God.
Because water, it is bad. It is bad. And so we can't dance around these things that are affecting us on a daily. The People's National Party, DK Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
He had a real plan for the water system in Hanover, in
Yeah.
Eastern.
Mm.
And the pipes were laid and dug up when we lost the election. And it is just sad that we put the politics before community and we put the politics before the people,
The
right?
people.
And that
Mm.
is the same trend that we're seeing nowadays, that money is put before people, politics put before people. And so if that project had remained, and I'm hoping that some projects get started so I can finish them,
Oh,
because I have the people's concern at heart, not myself, not for personal gains, right?
but- so you live in the
So
constituency.
I live in the hills, the cool hills of Cascade.
So if I hills, you live in a no serious bad road that you have, man.
Terrible, terrible bad roads. It's terrible, terrible. My roads are really bad. I sometimes refer to it as a riverbed, you know?
You not call it sweet potato pudding, you call them riverbed.
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
So you plan to give Mr. Brown a political backsliding.
That is indeed the plan. That is indeed the plan.
So what about people in your constituency who were PNP supporters and because they never get the seat, then switch? Are those people being a threat to you?
I didn't hear all of what you asked.
So
Could you repeat?
there was somebody who had interest in the seat and never get the seat from the party. And that person is walking up and down, said they are going to guarantee and secure a third term for Mr. Brown. What will you say to them today?
All right. What I will, or how I will respond to that question is that I am focused on the persons who are still PNP, right?
Mm.
I am representing the People's National Party, and that is where my focus is. So I'm focused on the comrades right now.
So you're not having any concern about those people. They are not of any threat to you becoming MP.
You see, to express any type of concern, will strengthen anyone who believes that, they are creating waves
Mm-hmm.
or they have influence on the voters. So
Mm-hmm.
I stay away from that, to be honest with you.
Mm.
I stay away from even speaking on those things
Okay, you'll stay away from that. So
intentionally.
so based on what I am hearing, on election night, you should be in the winning column.
Yes,
You should be in the winning column for the PNP.
yes.
You talk about the water and the road infrastructure as your priority projects. You're speaking about re-establishing education, particularly at the the infant
Early
early
childhood
childhood
level.
level,
Mhm.
so that the children in the constituency can really get a boost. You talk about the re-establishment of the community centers, but I have not heard I have not heard you telling Jamaica today, and particularly constituents, what is your economic plan for the constituency. A lot of people not working, a lot of people not get nothing. How you plan to fix that for the people of Eastern Hanover?
All right. Well, again, we before we look at that, we must look at the different economies. And I did speak on hospitality,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we depend heavily on that. Job protection. Job
Mm,
protection. Um, we at present, our jobs are not available to us as Eastern Hanoverians, right? Within the hospitality sector,
mm-hmm.
we have we have a lot of citizens from within the Eastern Hanover space that are qualified to
Mm-hmm.
work in different positions within hospitality. However, those positions are filled by
Yes.
persons from other countries. That
Mm,
is something that I intend to stand firm against, Yes.
Mm.
And that is because I see it firsthand daily. So there
Oh,
is no, we need to protect the jobs. Like when you go within the Caribbean space, you know, countries like St. Martin, on the Dutch side of St. Martin, whenever a job is available, a position is available, it has to be sent out so the locals can, you know, decide whether or not I want to do this. Yes?
yes.
We don't have that structure in Jamaica, and that is something that we need to work on
So you're
swiftly
talking, so you're
because
talking about protecting the Jamaicans for Jamaican workspaces.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And with regards to agriculture, we need
Mm-hmm.
to reintroduce, you know, like youth in agriculture program as we used to do, as the People's National Parties used to doing. Because if we want to improve anything, you have to
Yeah.
go to the roots. And the
Mm-hmm.
young people right now are not, they're not really engaged. We're not, and I feel like because we're not moving with the times, we're not introducing the hydroponics type of
Yeah.
agriculture where you don't have to get dirty,
Yeah.
right? So to produce some fruits and vegetables. So we also need to make our difference you know, the agriculture needs to be more attractive to appeal more to young
Yes.
people within the Eastern Hanover space.
So, oh, so you plan to make it more attractive.
Yes.
Okay.
Because there is always a negative perception when it comes down to farming. Farming is not punishment, right? We have to promote that high tech, high profitability type of farming where our farmers can now get into the market of the hotels.
So what?
Most of the major hotels within between uh, Great River
Mm-hmm.
and Legril down to where the Hanover sign is, the
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Westmoreland sign is, you have a number of major and small hotels. We need to help our farmers
Yeah.
to get into those markets and
Mm-hmm.
cut down on the import of fruits and vegetables, right? That comes into Jamaica.
So what are the main farming produces in Eastern Hanover?
We are big on yams. You know, it's the parish that is known to produce good yams. So we have
Yeah.
the loose yam. Yes, yes.
And I always
Plantains, bananas, you name it. What you? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
thought that is Trelawney is the yam country.
Hanover is as well. Hanover is as well.
Oh.
Hanover is. We have the famous Lucy Yam, right? We have a lot of Hafu in Hanover. So yes, we that's really mainly what is produced and taken to the markets. But we do produce different types of, you know, few fruits and vegetables. We do produce sweet pepper, you name it. We have a lot of production happening, but there is no market. There is
Oh.
no market for the goods. And so what we find is that people are producing less. People are producing less yams now. And of course, they use yams in the hotels, right? They
Mm,
use yams in the hotels. Bell peppers are used in the hotels as well. So a
mm.
market exists, but we must find ways to help our farmers to tap into the market. And that is something that I intend to focus on.
So for the people in those three divisions, Sandy Bay, where else you said the three divisions are?
Chester Castle, Hopewell, and Sandy Bay.
Chester Castle, Hopewell, and Sandy Bay. Tell them today, why is it that you should be selected or elected as their next member of parliament? Talk to them tonight. No, you have the next 2 3 minutes.
My people of Eastern Hanover, I want you to select me as your member of parliament.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, because I am you. I am
Yes.
that resident that lives within Eastern Hanover, within the Sandy Bay division, that encounters the same struggles that you encounter on a daily. I repair my vehicles as
Yes.
often as you do. I buy my water. I have
Mm,
to tap into grocery money to buy water just like you do.
mm,
And for the most part, some of you know me. You know the passion that I have for where I am from. Some
yes.
of you know how I feel about Eastern Hanover. I have walked Eastern Hanover and I've asked you for trust because
Mm,
it is needed within the Eastern Hanover space. You need a representative that you can trust, that you can hold accountable. But
yes.
also, I want you to believe that
Mm-hmm.
I will take care of you.
Mm,
I could have lived anywhere in Jamaica and even outside of Jamaica. I chose Cascade.
mm-hmm.
I chose Cascade because that place has molded me, it has strengthened me, and it has prepared me for the real world.
Yes.
I want you to vote for Andrea Purkiss because I have a heart for the people. And that
Mm,
is an element that has been missing for years. I want you to vote for me because I have contributed millions of US dollars to
mm-hmm.
foreign companies. And so I can contribute to my constituency.
Mm-hmm.
I can help my constituency. I can develop my constituency, right? The place that we call home, that you can depend on me to go to Kingston and not fall asleep. Go to Kingston and not just be present in
Yeah.
Parliament, but have a presence and to
Mm,
speak on the things and demand the requisite help that is needed to improve our wonderful constituency of Eastern Hanover. I only ask you for your trust, Eastern Hanoverians. Trust that I will make a difference, that I will not depart from you, that
mm,
I am at your level, I am at the people level, that your issues are mine.
your issues are mine.
Yes,
Look like she's at work, Jamaica.
I am at work.
She looked like she's at work, but she had made the time. Are you a teacher?
No, I'm not. I work in hospitality. I'm a regional sales director.
Oh, you're in hospitality. Oh,
Yes.
okay, awesome. So she's in hospitality. So anybody need um them visit on the Hanover coastline or in the hotels, Miss Perkins, you can reach out to Miss
Oh,
Perkins.
geez, don't set me up that way. But yes, I like that you referred to the lovely coastline of Eastern Hanover. And, I really want to see the coastline cleaned up. So when you get to Great River, you feel like you're entering a Ocherius. It's nice
Hmm.
and clean. And we look like an area where the tourists would, whether or not the bus drivers want to stop, the tourists would want to stop and spend a little time with us and some money as well.
Hmm. Well, Jamaica, that today we had Miss Perkins sharing her vision for Eastern Westmoreland,
Eastern Hanover.
Eastern Hanover. My apologies. She's giving the vision of how she plans to stir Eastern Hanover. Remember, a part of Eastern Hanover has not had a bridge for the past 3 years, but under her watch as member of parliament, she plans to make sure that in the first year that bridge is reinstated. Also, Jamaica, she's talking about the road infrastructural improvement plan and also the water distribution plan. So those are priority items for Miss Perkins. We appreciate her coming here today and sharing her time with us. Sharing her time with us. So we wish you all the best in the three
Thank
divisions.
you. Thank you.
And I look forward the next time you're on this platform. It is not acting, it is not MP candidate, but member of parliament. All right.
Indeed. Indeed. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Miss Perkins. God
God
bless you.
bless you too.
Yes, Jamaica. That was the interview today with Miss Andrea Miss Andrea Purkiss from Hanover Eastern. It was a good, short interview, Jamaica. I bless you all for coming to Midday Connections. And I hope I get some gifts tonight for my years of teaching. I teach enough, So I want to see who will give me gift and send me present. And I still have lunch left. So if persons want lunch today, come tell us enough and support me, But I still have lunch left. I go right up until 4:30, 5 o'clock today. So if you need lunch, I have soup left, I have chicken, and I think I have stew peas. So those are the three items we have left and done to order. You can get pastas, shrimp pasta, chicken pasta, any of those things. But reach out to me, call me Jamaica, and it was a pleasure being here. All the best and goodbye now.